What is up, everybody? It's your boy Nick Noodles coming at you with another great video. And in today's video, I want to show you my entire desk setup and all of the stuff that I use to make YouTube videos. I think this can kind of help some of my viewers that maybe want to get into YouTube or just want to know what stuff I'm using, because it has changed a lot since I made like a setup video a few months ago. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First off, my camera, I use the Sony a6500. It is a mirrorless camera, and I think this is one of the best investments I've made. I got this camera in the summer of 2019, and I have no regrets about it. The lens that I'm filming on right now is the Sigma 16mm, super crisp lens. I really love it for video, and it even does some really nice photography with a wider angle. However, I mainly do a lot of my photography on this Sigma 30mm right here. This thing is so crisp for the price. I actually got the camera and this lens for like $800 off some dude on Craigslist, and I got the 16mm for I think $250 from a friend, so that was a very good deal. Some of these Sony lenses are super expensive, so if you have one, I highly recommend these Sigma lenses, but you probably already know about these if you own a Sony camera. If you're getting started with YouTube, you can definitely get away with your phone. I mean, most of them shoot 4K 60 now, and my camera doesn't even do that. I don't really shoot in 4K anymore though, because YouTube just processes the hell out of stuff, and not a lot of people have 4K monitors or even watch in 4K on their phone. So there really isn't a point to me to film in 4K. But yeah, if you're looking to start making YouTube videos, definitely use your phone. But I highly recommend upgrading to one of these cameras at some point in time. I just don't think that these compare to, an actual camera with an actual sensor on it. Now let's talk about my audio setup, which I recently have upgraded. When I first started making YouTube videos, I would just use the built-in microphone on my camera. Then I upgraded to this Rode microphone that I'm speaking on now. This is how I sound on the Shure SM58. This is one of the most classic microphones of all time. I did a lot of research when, trying to get an XLR mic, and I figured I might as well just get this. It's like $98, which is a steal in my opinion. One day I hope to upgrade to the SM7B, which is like the goated podcast microphone that everybody uses, but this will definitely do the job for now. I have it on this pretty cheap Amazon microphone stand. I think this was like $40. And it's a little bit more robust than some of the cheaper stands that they have on Amazon. And I have it being fed into a Focusrite Scarlett XLR interface. Really enjoy this setup. I don't really do anything extra. I don't have any extra plugins or EQ going on. I put the gain at 75% on the Scarlett, and I usually record to Audacity or OBS. I think audio is like more important than video right now. That's just me. When I watch a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of the time it's in the background, like I'm not even looking at the actual video, I'm just listening. So, the better the audio, the better experience that I think the listener is going to have, especially if they're just watching it in the background. And like this setup I have right here is less than $200. So if anything, I would recommend getting a better audio setup before you invest in like a better camera or something like that. That's just my opinion. Next, let's talk about my computer, which I recently upgraded, and some of the parts are a little bit overkill, but I do a lot of gaming, video editing, content creation. I work from home for a software company. I'm doing online school. So it's important for me to have like a very high-end desktop to be able to handle all those types of things. For the CPU, we're rocking with the Ryzen 5800X. Super awesome CPU, 8 cores, 16 threads. I was recently on a 6700K, and that CPU is still kind of a beast, but this one is like 3 or 4 times the power of that, so I'm happy about it. I may upgrade to a 5950X in the future, but we'll just have to wait and see. That might be like definitely overkill. I use a 1080 Ti as my GPU. It gets everything done that I need it to do. I don't really game in 4K, I game at 1440p. And, this card is still keeping up with all the games that I play. I usually play a lot of older titles, so I don't really need the latest and greatest. I will probably upgrade to a 3080 Ti this summer if they announce it by then. But until then, I'm happy with my 1080 Ti. I have 32 gigabytes of RAM. It has to be RGB, you already know. That is definitely overkill, but it allows me to multitask and run a bunch of stuff in the background. I also use 3 terabytes of NVMe M.2 SSD space. M.2 storage is so awesome. It's like this small. You don't have to route any cables to it, and it's just amazing how cheap it is now. Definitely got to have that for the OnlyFans leak folder. We have 9 RGB fans, and I made the mistake of buying these fans from 3 different brands, so I literally have 3 different RGB controllers to control each set of fans. I highly recommend getting the same brand of RGB fans if you're trying to do a bunch of them, because it'll just make it easier to control. It is housed in the Lee & 011 Dynamic, which is probably the most popular CPU case right now, and for good reason. It looks super sweet. I have the white edition, but I think there is a black model, and they have like a bunch of different variations of this now. They have like an ITX one, a smaller ATX one, and even like an XL one if you want that chunky boy. This computer is very important to me. It allows me to get a lot of stuff done on it, and it is definitely a worthwhile investment. If you're looking for a decent computer, I recommend going on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. It's very hard to get some of these newer parts in stock right now, so you kind of have to, get older hardware. However, if you're on a budget, it's not a bad option at all. A lot of people are just trying to get rid of their stuff because they upgraded, so there's definitely a lot of good stuff out there. Definitely do some research though, because there are people that will try and scam you. They'll be like, new gaming PC, and then give you something with like an i3 in it. Don't fall for that bullshit. But yeah, definitely check your local deals. Now for my monitor, this is also pretty overkill. It is the ViewSonic Elite XG270QG. I absolutely hate how some companies name their monitors. They put like all these random ass letters. It's almost like a New Balance shoe. Like, I don't even understand how consumers are supposed to like differentiate all these different monitors from each other when they have the most confusing names. Needless to say though, this monitor is absolutely awesome. For starters, the build quality is just insane on it. Monitors are known to have like very bad quality control issues, and this one was pretty much perfect. No dead pixels, no backlight bleeding, and the stand is pretty awesome. It has RGB lighting on the back, 27 inches, 1440p, 144 hertz. It also has a dedicated G-Sync module on it, which is important to me because it gives you a tear-free experience, and it's not like those compatible G-Sync modules where it's like really a FreeSync monitor. If you didn't understand what that meant, don't worry about it. It's a little bit overkill anyways. This is also an IPS panel, which is important because if I'm doing content creation, I want to make sure my colors are pretty accurate. This is an awesome monitor. Again, you don't really have to have the best monitor to do YouTube. I highly recommend just getting like an IPS panel so you can have the most accurate colors. But again, I did a lot of my editing on a TN panel for like the past 2 or 3 years, so you can really make any monitor work. Just get what's cheap and what works for you. For my headphones and my speakers, I use these DT990 Pros, and I just have some random Bose SoundLink that I got for like $30 on eBay. These really aren't that important for content creation, but I thought I might as well just include it because it is on my desk. Now for camera equipment, I use a Joby GorillaPod. I really like this tripod. It's so small that I can fit it on my desk and do this nice angle right in front of my computer. For my older videos, when I was filming it with the camera over here, I would use just an Amazon Basics tripod. I wouldn't recommend going that hard on a tripod. They can be really expensive, but for the content that I make, I just need the cheap stuff to hold my camera in one spot while I talk in front of it. For lighting, I am currently using this Sunpack 12-inch ring light. I was using these old umbrella lights that I got off Craigslist. However, I wanted something a little bit smaller that didn't have this big ass umbrella. This is like $60 at Best Buy. Definitely look local because the umbrella lights that I was using before were like $40 off Craigslist, and those are definitely really, really good as well. Obviously, the ring light or like any lighting at all isn't absolutely necessary. I recently haven't even really been using it unless I'm wearing a hat like this so that like the shadows on my face aren't too dark, but I guess you can never go wrong with having too much light. For computer software, I use DaVinci Resolve to edit my videos, and I highly, highly, highly recommend this software. One, it's absolutely free, which is crazy for what it can do. I used to pirate Premiere Pro and Sony Vegas, but Resolve pretty much does everything that those programs do, and I don't have to worry about having a virus on my computer, and it's free. I don't understand how anybody could look at this software and, you know, choose something else. Especially now that like Adobe has subscription services on all their software, which is complete bullshit in my opinion. It's not worth it to me to pay like $20 a month to use Premiere. I don't make money from these videos yet, so that investment isn't worth it to me. Other software that I use are OBS for screen recording. Sometimes I'll even use NVIDIA Shadowplay because it can record like the last 5 minutes if I wasn't recording anything. And for audio, I usually use Audacity. For peripherals, I use a Corsair K68 keyboard. I like this one because it's spill proof. I actually broke my last keyboard because I spilled alcohol on it. It was very, very dumb of me. For my mouse, I use the Logitech G403. It is wireless, and wireless mouse are pretty fast now. Like I couldn't tell the difference between it being wired and it being wireless. And for my mouse pad, I use just this HyperX. For my chair, which is often very overlooked in a desk setup, gaming setup, I have a Herman Miller Mira chair, and Herman Miller chairs can be pretty expensive. So again, I highly recommend looking locally. I got this one for like $200. It normally costs like $700 or $800, and having a comfortable chair is so important if you're spending hours in it, which I usually do just because, you know, I'm in school, I work, and I'm also doing content creation. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up all the stuff that I use on a day-to-day basis. If you have any questions about my setup, definitely let me know down below. But I appreciate you all watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.